quickly as we can. For those of you that aren't fans of these other either of these two teams, expect a barn burner. First ban is Nook, and we'll get underway with the operator bans.
Following on his stature, we can expect that. Of course, Nook getting banned out more and more nowadays in the NAL and across Siege in general, so when you see it, do not be surprised, because it is a stellar pick right now. We know DC and Pambasu likes to pick up that operators of Beast Coast, target banning that to great effect.
Why is Nook a good operator, Nick?
You can sneak around, you know, you can be invisible to cameras, you don't make any noise, and Theme Park is a relatively large map with multiple staircases. Also, you can't just shoot every single default camera from outside the building, so with Nook you can just sneak in and go undetected, so that is why that is such an effective ban. Umaya, of course, following Troop, that's going to mean that shields and locations that players can sit in or corners are less safe from these grenades that we know are so present in the current meta game, or at least in the meta game we saw at the Major and in Stage 1. Mira, final operator to follow up on the board, and that's, one of those basic ones that we just don't want to deal with that. Mira, funnily enough, isn't even played that often when she's open, but she's also still banned quite frequently because players just don't want to have the opportunity to face it when they're on the attacking side. DC on attack, beastcoast on defense, round 1 standing in Armory Throne.
Now, if we were to go and look at the statistics on a map like Theme Park, you're going to be playing off of what we saw out of the NAL last year, but you're also going to be looking at the Charlotte Major. And of course, what happened in the Charlotte Major will skew the statistics on this map in particular. But if you were to go all the way back and look at what are the most defendable bomb sites here, you are hard-pressed to argue against Armory and Throne. This has been the #1 bomb site for most defenders since the very onset of Theme Park in competitive play for a number of reasons. And a big part of that is how you want to hold this map control. You can hold from above. Here we go for a run out from Slash. Doesn't work at all, but he gets right back in the building. So at least something ventured, and I think his position might have been given away for a second or so. Anywho, you want to take this area over here, which is maintenance. You also might want to take barrels, which is over towards the main lobby, because those are the two most critical walls that lead into the back of that throne room component, which is where you will often see the default plant spot.
It's also how you see Surf and Drip now on the Kaid and the Mute to deny that wall breach. So now we have to look at the grenade setup from DarkZero. 2 grenades on NGR, 2 grenades on Hyper, 1 left down his pocket. These grenades are crucial on this map to open up those walls because the wall deny is hard to get rid of otherwise. There's no real easy access entryway in towards this bomb site itself, so DC will have to take around the bomb site, so to speak, either choke out the roamers, where we see Slash right now, trying to get aggressive and challenge, but Pamazu finds one, and Slash might find a member of DC as well because they're just nearby.
Oh, Slash can't get it done. Canadian walks in very swiftly, and with 2 players found on his end, that'll narrow the numbers for Beast Coast down to just 2 of their own. Surf and Drip, the first kill comes in, it's Drip or Drown. He eliminates Hyper. Surf heads back to the bomb site, and well, Beast Coast will need to consolidate in the confines with half of the round to go. Utility to spare, presence to be had, and now Drip will swing for the fences and miss an opportunity. The Finka being down for DarkZero is unideal. It was called by Jesse as the strongest operator in the game, and I don't think you could really argue against it right now. The way that Finka can kind of quarterback an entire offense is an impressive thing to witness. DZ still have 4 players up. They double up on Beast Coast. Still plenty of time for Beast Coast to wait this out, but DZ ditto. Plenty of time for them to dot their I's and cross their T's.
Yeah, they're doing just that, taking it slow, burning down this vertical play, getting that all opened up to get some lines on the side. They do have 1 smoke grenade left. That just disappeared because Pamazu got found by Surf, so now flashbangs and pocket and 1 grenade is all they got to work with, and Surf and Drip are actually in great position to clutch this out if they get the right opportunity.
Well, the plant's going down from Eclipse, but nobody sees Drip.
There's
nobody
no
sees Drip. He just walks right in. Surf there as well, and what an image on the default
I was gonna say,
going down. The plant that was going down from the hallway wall. Where the hell was that? You left Eclipse to die.
It's very uncharacteristic as well from DarkZero because they are always what we talk about like one of the most structured teams in North America. And whenever you see DarkZero planting, there's always cover, or usually there's always cover, and it goes down successfully. But that round in particular, there wasn't any cover. You had a play on the hatch, holding the hatch angle itself. Of course, Eclipse was planting, and last person was on the right-hand side of the breach, holding the wrong or incorrect angle. Drip had the 50-50. He could go left way around the pillar or right way around the pillar, and he chose the correct one because he got in unseen and undamaged. And now, for the first time in the NAL of Stage 2, of course this is the first day that Asami is available, she will also see active play.
So, if you don't know what she does, this is the newest, well, second newest operator, because Sens is in as well.
Correct.
Sens, I don't know if we're going to see them later on, but we'll talk about them if they show up. As for Asami, her ability is a generating Kiba knife / Kiba barrier, where she throws a kunai and it lets this giant wall, or circle rather, of rock, or granite, or whatever you want to call it, materialize in front of you. You can make mobile covers, you can close up drone holes, you can close up doorways, windows, and you can plug breaches as well. You have an ace open up a part of the wall, throw out one of those kunais, the Kiba barrier will expand and it will block that. Now, first kill goes to Eclipse as we're talking about this new operator. Again, Beast Coast sacrificing one of their players onto this altar and hope for the best when it comes to defense. It's Sweater to drop this time, and now Slash is the one in the line of fire. Beast Coast a little bit too aggressive, but it didn't matter for the previous round. There goes an air jab, and Surf decides to reposition, finding the safety of those arcade cabinets, watching the cafe door.
As long as Surf and Drip are both alive, I think anything is possible. Surf finds yet another victim, and now we see Drip trying to get aggressive, but so far, well, the dude wants more, and Surf finds a second on the round.
He doesn't know if there's one over towards that cafe window or the arcade window. Can't really do all that much. DarkZero in trouble despite getting that very first pick. And Banbazoo just with the G8, a bit too much for Anthony to handle. Kiba barrier goes out, and Anthony is felled. Not much that you're going to see there from Asami. The one beautiful thing about Asami, though, like we said, is that you can patch up those holes. A heart breach goes out, maybe you lose some of the wall, you can throw out her Kiba barrier to plug it up. Now, there are counters for it. You can melee it 3 times and it will break, or any explosive will take it out right away. You can't shoot it, though, and you can't drone through it. So if a drone hole is plugged, you're going to have to expend some explosive utility to open it up.
Yep. Sledgehammer does work, but the box shells do not. So Bug is not a counter. Canadian finds another that's stripped off the board. Slash and Surf now has to clutch it up for their team. Otherwise, it's DC getting the first round. Nicely
played by Canadian. Controlling that F2 recoil around Dragon. Down goes Surf, and it's Slash to clutch. He has a flank right now. That's Banbazoo with just a portion of HP. Opposite initiation is the position that we see right now for Slash to defend against. Eclipse will not be let down by his teammates this time. Diffuser successfully planted his Slash with 1 HP and a Dream as a red mark, but very little else to play off of, and the timer will continue to work against him. Even though the ult is a formidable weapon, he's going to have to look to both the left and the right as there's a crossfire being held by DZ. It seems almost impossible that he'll be able to pull this one off, and he's making a ton of noise in the process. Canadian will find the final 3 kills for DarkZero, and they will equalize at 1 round apiece.
Not bad. And mind you that this map right now at the Charlotte Major had a 63% defensive win rate overall, so every single attack and round victory that you can find is really, really valuable. You are expected, at most, typically, to get the 2 rounds in attack, if even. So 1 round now in just 2 is a great start for DarkZero. And of course, BC, while they did find the first round and shut down a bit of momentum from DarkZero, they couldn't do that the second time around. And we gotta talk about the bomb sites. The office bomb site is not typically where we see teams go that often because it doesn't have that much success. It's Armory Throne that is played the most, together with Bunk Daycare, where you find ourselves right now. And then it's pretty much a toss-up between the lab storage and initiation office that we just saw. But typically speaking, we don't see office as a second-hand choice. And we saw for Beast Coast, well, it didn't work out either for them. We do ever see Daycare Bunk being an extension into that area, so it plays a little bit similar. Because you can't just hold the bomb site itself, that's just not going to work in most cases. So you want to try, as a defending team, to extend 1 room over. That's exactly what Beast Coast are doing. This also allows you more surface area to put down your gadgetry, your secondary gadgets as well, and of course those Mujammers can deny drone entries and player entries from the attacking lineup. Amara now, second round being played from DarkZero, worked out great the last time, got the entry into break room, got a kill and got some map control. Canadian having a great time being a flex player because he's 5-1 so far, and he gets to play the F2, which is a formidable weapon.
He was on Dokkaebi back in round number 1, if you remember. Those 2 kills through the mid-round to give his team a bit more breathing room, and then he cleaned up with Twitch previously. It was Banbazoo who'd played on the Twitch from time to time. What'd they call him? The F2 Bazoo or something like that?
F2 Bazoo.
Something along those lines, but this whole team has a lot of flexibility on it, as you'll see the same from Beast Coast. But I would argue at the moment, the most flexible team for North America has to be DarkZero, at least from the run that we saw. Astralis is up there too, and imagine that. The 2 most flexible teams are the 2 who make the deepest run at the last international event that we had.
Makes sense.
Either way. Throne Room went in favor of Beast Coast. It's locked for this round. They'll have one more crack at it. If they end up being successful, then they're 2 for 2, and that's about it. As for the rest of these bomb sites, that's where things get maybe a bit more daunting because I was not as confident in what I saw out of the defense of Beast Coast in the previous round in comparison to what we saw on Throne.
Absolutely not. I do think that BC, when they play together, they thrive the most. And so far, the first 2 rounds, it is individual plays of BC. Mostly Surf, of course, swinging out, getting kills. But we need to start seeing Slash, Anthony, and Sweater getting activated on the scoreboard, but also just in their playstyle itself. We see them desperately trying to find individual gunfights. They need to try and swing together, just like Surf and Drip did in that very opening round on Throne, because that is where you're going to find the most success. Otherwise, a 50-50 gunfight at best, and that's not going to go in your favor always.
I like this lineup now from Beast Coast, but they line up exactly into the crosshairs of DarkZero with Pambazoo opening things up, picking up 2 onto his own. Slash capitalizes the first for Beast Coast, and he gets 2, but just like that, you snap your fingers, and that whole round is over. DarkZero breached through Cafe, and then the rest of Beast Coast crumbled around them, and that's a quick second round to give DarkZero the first lead of this match.
DC now in all 3 rounds have gotten the opening kill, and they've almost gotten 2 plants as well. So Beast Coast, they need to start working on the early part of the game, because otherwise it's going to fall apart even quicker. 2 rounds on attacking side already means that DC is in a great position. Of course, they want more. We got a bit of a chatter going on right now in the in-game chat. Somebody asked, like, who's Jaeger? They didn't really see what happened from there on out, but I mentioned some memes and some vibes in chat. And I will say, we could see the player chat in the lobby before the game started, and they were quite chatty in there as well.
I mean, you've got players like Drip, you've got players like Surf, you've got players like Sweater who always seem to be in good spirits, and they are kindred spirits as well with players like Hyper and like Pambazoo.
Panba started talking a lot of...
Panba loves to chat.
Yep.
Even when it means maybe pissing off an entire region with the things that he says in the chat, but either way.
To be fair, Pambazoo is also proving that he can talk smack and still play well. Where it's one of those, like, you can't talk smack if you're a terrible player, I feel like, because it's not really, it's not warranted. But when you're the MVP of the major and you're talking smack, it's kind of gets the opponent's mental too. You're like, Drip, you're whiffing, man. Come on, do better. Mental warfare is a big deal. We all know that that Canadian himself is a big man of that.
All right. Well, you can see the punch out on the window with the Mozzie Pest below it. That's something that we don't really see all that often, and is actually quite smart, because if you break the barricade and the Mozzie Pest is on it, the Mozzie Pest disappears. But in this case, you can immediately melee the barricade and just instinctively try to throw in one of those drones, and the Pest will catch it. And that's Slash sitting over top of his life's work. The drone's gone through. I don't know if the Pest has been taken care of, though, or not. No, it's still there. Fascinating stuff. Beast Coast really likes these deep off-site extensions, and it hasn't really worked out for them all that well. DarkZero has the opening pick in all 3 rounds up to this point.
Yep.
And, well, the last time Beast Coast went here, the Throne Bomb site down below, it was again DarkZero walking in, picking up the first 3 kills. And because of a heroic effort from both Surf and Drip, the round still went to Beast Coast, but it wasn't as dominant as it could have been. If DarkZero can capitalize again and get a couple picks, I don't know if we're going to see them commit the same mistakes that they did before, not isolating Surf and Drip on that bomb site and just kind of filtering in one by one, because it was essentially a glorified 2v1, v1, 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 v1
It was.
in that previous 2v5 that ultimately was the undoing of DarkZero.
But it's going so much better now because Beast Coast have done a good job at falling backwards now. So when you're roam clearing like DarkZero is right now, you kind of want to do like a hammer and anvil. Right now, the hammer is all of DC. They're shoving Beast Coast away, but there's no anvil, so there's no connection. They're not finding these kills and catching them off guard. Instead, Slash almost finds a freebie. C4 comes out, and a freebie it is indeed. Pambazoo off the board. That's Jackal too, but now they know where Slash is, and he's stuck inside a barrel room.
A bit of a different start to this round than every other round before it, as it's DarkZero with the numbers disadvantage. Beast Coast can hold on, weather the storm a little bit. As loose as they like to play on these roams, Nick, well, they can get back to the bomb site, kind of hold down the fort. Damage being done now from the Fink at the hands of Hyper. Now Canadian felled by Sweater. Beast Coast still surviving. Slash can engage in a duel here. Just simply cannot go against that LMG. Too many bullets. But look at that. It's Sweater and Surf to double up, leaving NJR in a 1v4. This is a bad situation for DarkZero. NJR has shown signs of brilliance throughout his entire career, but in a 1v4, it's going to be a really tall challenge, especially with that diffuser being watched over with the MP5 rattling away. Sweater sitting on top of that. NJR will be in a duel to find his very first kill. Can he get it? No, he misses out on the Malusi. Sweater's still there. Frost of Anthony shows up, but NJR will have to head for the hills. Running out of time, just 2 seconds left, and he will...
It's going to take us to round 5. But once again, we see Anthony on the Asami. Of course, Anthony yet to find a kill of his own. And you mentioned quite a bit of different ways that, you know, Asami can be played in competitive Rainbow Six Siege, and I think the simplest way to put it is that it's like a castle barricade you can pretty much put anywhere on the map because it works the same way. You can double punch it so the third punch destroys it and prep something to, you know, surprise your opponents. You can deny lines of sight. You can cover grenade areas, drones, etc. There are so many creative ways Asami can be played. It's not, you know, bound to be in a window or doorway like Castle is or like even a Rooney laser gates are. You can do pretty much everything or anything you'd like to achieve, which is why you can see different players on the same team play this operator in so many different ways. And that's why I think that Asami is a very unique and interesting, interesting operator to watch.
Coming out yet again. Back over in this office bomb site that we saw before. Beast Coast liking this rotation for defense. They've really tightened up their roam, I will say, over even the previous 2 rounds. DarkZero swept through in round number 3, but I don't know if you can pinpoint the roam as being the issue there since, you know, all 5 players of Beast Coast were dead within 15 seconds. Either way, again, you want to talk about that 81% win rate for the defense on Throne. That's just a really brutal number to try and come up against. You could have the most proficient attack in the world and still you are only going to succeed 1 out of 5 times. That is terrible in terms of attacking win rate.
It's actually the highest defender winning bomb site of any map in the game right now. So there's that.
Not a surprise, honestly, at all. And I remember back when Goyo still had access to his shields, and 3 of them was it, how strong Throne was at that time. But we can talk about that in the post round. We can talk about that later on, because this also that's been brought, one of the newer operators to Rainbow Six as well from DarkZero, causing some significant problems from Beast Coast. It allows DZ now to whisk their way in through Cafe. They've got good control, and a pinch will come in as well as Pambazoo has made his way in over towards the back of Bunk. And he can see a nice long sight and do a little bit of damage. I don't know if that was at the hands of Pambazoo, but Slash losing half of his HP.
Yeah, this is not the bomb side, mind you. This is, of course, that extension that we see going both ways now on the opposite side of things. And with a minute left, this is the slowest round we've seen so far, pretty much, because no one has fallen off the board yet. 5v5 still, walls intact, but the thing is, there's no wall deny from the side of Beast Coast, but they do have a soft wall here. Asami, we see it to the left of Sweater here, has denied the rotate. So now it's somewhat safe for the defenders.
Grenade goes in, and it does a little bit of damage to Anthony. Sweater still watching this soft wall. He's got the Asami barrier next to him, and this is plugging that hole. Eclipse is on the hunt too, and sees it, gets his very first kill. A couple players on DZ still looking for theirs. NJR's the last one left now that Eclipse has got one. 30 seconds to go, and the final Talon Shield in the hands of Hyper almost goes out, but it's just done to break that door, and then possibly walk right in. Surf runs headfirst into Canadian, dusted by a jump in from Hyper, and now Pambazoo is side by side. DZ's gun's coming alive, but Drip right now in the midst of the bomb sites. Nitro Cell goes out, and just off of the plant, look at Drip. They say Drip or drown, but my man is swimming, but he can't do anything, pulls out the Deagle.
Goes that lap storage bomb site, which, funny enough, it really favors the roam game and playing all across the map, which is essentially what Beast Coast is doing, but they're not going to that bomb site. They are, once again, going to this day bunk group bomb site instead, which, sure, you can roam, but it's not as effective, and we're not bringing the wall deny that much again this time. Like, we did see them play both the Kaid and the Mute, but right now it's just serve on the Mute, and they are probably going to extend it because we see those rotation holes being made. So a similar fashion to what they did the last time, where DarkZero, well, they said, we see all this setup, we see that you've extended to office, we're just gonna go Cafe. Jump in Cafe window, walk in Cafe door, you know, take top arcade control, and that's kind of just where the round is going to end for you. So the question has to come now, can Beast Coast hold the Cafe side of things where Drip is currently and deny DarkZero the entry that they want? This Valkyrie camera can be tossed out, it'll only last for 10 seconds, so it's limited time information.
So you can see losing signal, so a possible jump out is there. 3 black eye cams available for Valkyrie. So Toss out a Nitro Cell, and now you seemingly have destroyed the cam, but other than that, no damage has been done. They know that DarkZero likes this advance towards the cafe door with the Osa shield, as we've seen it a couple times now. I think this will be the third or fourth time that Hyper has put this in that exact same spot. Drip could go for a hop out if he knows and has information as to the whereabouts of these DZ players, but he needs to pick his target adequately. Here's the sound of the PDW rattling away. Could there be backup for DarkZero? Again, because that black eye cam was thrown out early on, there's no information that Beast Coast can play off of. So any jump out that happens will be communicated off of sound or will just be thoroughly blind.
I think it's worth noting that, you know, Hyper's done this like 3 or 4 times now, and yet BC are not bringing any impact grenades. If one person picked up impact grenades, you can directly counter this Osa setup on the cafe door and destroy both shields if Hyper would have put them both down. But instead, it's just C4s galore, 3 of them and 1 being spent already, which doesn't reach that distance to get the shield at all. So now Hyper gets what he wants, DC gets what they want, and now they're on the break room repel as well and start pressuring the bomb side.
There's a flash in from NJR as you can hear the heartbeat going off of an adrenal surge. Another opening kill for Beast Coast. They're doing mighty fine now in the second half of this defense. Drip swings in, but DZ have the coverage that they need. Hyper is there to take him down. Oh, another nice, beautiful shot. And a third on the docket, but it's Surf to get away, re-engaging with a shotgun, a triple from Hyper. Beautiful play. Anthony on the pulse of Canadian. Can't quite get him down. Canadian pops up and vanquishes him, and Sweater whips most of the magazine. We don't blame him. Jaeger's 4.16 carbine is a little bit hard to hold, and in that case, far too hard for Beast Coast. First half in the books, Nick. It's 4-2 in favor of the major champs.
And that's the attack and starting side on Theme Park, which is not typically this successful. So what a great start for DC, and of course, Bambasu will showcase, for the moment at least, the Asami. A lot of us have been talking about, you know, internally, both of casters and pro players, how often are we going to expect Asami being played and or banned in competitive Rainbow Six Siege? And this is the 3rd round out of 7 we've seen here on Theme Park of all things. It's day 1. So the question has to be asked, are teams holding back? Are they waiting to show her later on? Because you don't want to pick her first and show everything that you know about her in case some teams might not have figured it out as well as you. So for the next couple of weeks, let's keep an eye on that and see what teams bring it and how efficiently they can do so at that. But it's Pamasu, the MVP of the Charlotte Major, a top gunner for his team that gets to play around with these angles. This can of course help both the site itself, it can help the roam, and it really means that Pamasu is now allowed to maybe even play more aggressive than before and have more tools at his disposal to help him achieve that successfully. With this hatch being opened up, we just saw in Split, and of course with the 4 people roaming, we can with confidence say that DarkZero are looking to be just as aggressive as Beast Coast were in their opening round, and we have to see if Beast Coast can do as good of a job as DarkZero did to pick that apart. The one big difference here, there is no Jackal from Beast Coast. They're bringing a ton of utility. They have 6 grenades, and those grenades aren't necessarily going to help them in the first minute and a half because it comes down to gunfights, droning, and roam clearing. So we have to see if they can make it work.
Run out from Pamazu works really, really well, and then immediately you plug that window right up. Look at the damage that's being done as Pamazu within striking distance of breaking double digits, and that could be a fatal blow to Beast Coast. You know how important these first picks are. DarkZero leading the way in terms of first picks in this matchup, and they get some more to continue to grow that number. That's a minute off of the clock. Beast Coast losing out on their Yana, losing out on Sweater, who has so consistently been the standout performer for Beast Coast. You've lost your nades, you've lost your Gon 6, and you've lost one of your most important scouting tools as well. Yep. Information for Beast Coast against a defensive, strongly defensive team like DarkZero on a strongly defender-sided map, that is crucial. That is a huge blow, and look at this! Pamazu walks in and takes out Drip. The exothermic can't go off in time, and that is hard breach denied onto the wall. There's a mute jammer on the other side of it. Now Selma will go off to do a little bit of damage to the wall and open up small holes. Exothermic is no more. DarkZero really capitalizing off of Pamazu's roam.
Still got more there to go as well because Canadian, the flex player right now with the MP5K, is up above looking for serve as well. Got the angle on lockdown, and Canadian has been so efficient today at finding these kills or finding the engagements and winning them. 8 kills to his name, leaving Slash and Anthony in a 2 versus 4 with a really bad breach to work with. It's a peek hole and a vault hole in towards the bomb side because the jammer has not been cleared with any of those 6 grenades that was available to them.
Well, you still have your small opening there, but now you've got those Selmas hitting the mute jammers. 45 seconds remaining, and out goes a toxic canister. Anthony still looking for kill number 1. Slash guns down Eclipse, but Hyper trades out, and just
a thermic charge, as well as the diffusers on the ground. It's worth it if you're Pambazoo. It's worth it if you're DarkZero. And I think the Asami had it was a huge difference maker in that round with how they used it. This time around, no Asami on the board. We are going to a next bomb site on the list, and statistically, this is the correct choice if you are the defenders. Bunk Daycare is the second most successful bomb site, and once again, we see that extension going over one room to the right from both teams. Again, if you don't extend out over, you're just stuck in basically 2 or 3 rooms if you count Cafe. You can't really play in break room in the center or bottom center of your screen because those windows are there. So that means that instead you want to hold office if you can, or at least try and hold it as long as possible. Then maybe eventually fall back to side once you burn some drones and burn some time, because time in drones is basically utility. You can spend time to achieve something or spend drones gaining information. So killing a drone is actually high value.
Look at these kill totals, by the way, just as we look at that. I know it's really easy for you to see kills and understand what's going on, but...
Let me see if I got this. Pamba 10 good. Eclipse 1 bad.
Okay, well...
Is that...
I mean, I think you understand it at a very base level, but no, I mean, look, you've got the 3 flex/aggressive players on DZ who are in the most prominent roles on both attack and defense thus far, all far and away trading themselves out. 8-3 for Hyper, 10-4 for Pambazoo, 8-4 for Canadian. Look over at Beast Coast. You have Surf at 7-5, which is okay. That's good for his role. You've got Sweater at 3-6, terrible for his role. Anthony, 0-6 for his role.
That's rough.
Terrible for his role. You are really just losing out on these duels, and sometimes you can have the greatest strategy in the world, but it really does break down to your ones. If you cannot trade yourself out or win the duels that you find yourself in, and both of these teams on defense, when they've tried to dictate the pace, have set up 1v1 contests by roaming so aggressively, the fact that Beast Coast on defense and now on attack are not able to win their entry duels is really the biggest storyline, in my opinion, for this team.
I'd agree. And especially because, like, as you said, like now Beast Coast are on the attack, you need these opening kill engagements to go in your favor, because not only do you lose a member if you lose the gunfight, you also lose a ton of map presence. When you play 4 versus 5 on the attack, it means 1 less angle you can come from as an attacker, 1 less drone on the map, 1 less person gaining information. Pambazoo eats an 8, and Canadian finds Slash.
And there they go. They come to blows. Slash getting the lead-off pick, trying to close the distance between his 5 kills and 7 deaths, and proving his worth in a way that is more than just on that scoreboard. DZ answers back by taking out Slash. Any of those nades that might have been in the pocket of Sledge are now gone, but you've still got 2. 1 in Sweater's hands and 1 in Surf. So plenty of explosive potential here. Clock starting to close right now on Beast Coast. And Pambazoo, a beautiful shot on a drip. He knows there's another there. Jiggle peeking around the corner before repositioning. A hop out could go towards the cafe door, but Pambazoo needs to be very wary of that. He's effectively playing to die, but he's got some support from NJR. So DZ have now pushed up. They want to isolate the remaining players of Beast Coast inside of cafe. If they can do that and find these final 2 kills, that will be match point in their favor. And if you're Beast Coast, you don't have a lot of time to work with, and you don't have any bodies either. Just like that, DarkZero finds the final 2 kills, and they sit on match point.
Beautiful crossfire setup there. It's a 4 versus 2, and there's basically DC playing in duos or in pairs of 2. Basically, they have a crossfire established between at least 2 members of the squad, meaning that no matter where Beast Coast comes from, they have to fight 2 players at a single moment, or at the very least have to do an incredible flick about 90 degrees at the minimum to even have a chance of winning a gunfight. That is how you want to set up the 1 versus 2s if possible. You can't just stack in the same corner, the same peaking point, because then you'll just be a collateral kill if you lose your initial gunfight. And the potential final round is going to take us to the office area of the map. This is where we saw Anthony bring out the Asami. Anthony having a bit of a rough game so far, now being put on that flexible role on the attacking side on the Lion. Bring that gadgetry to try and make sure that DarkZero will stand more still when BC takes these gunfights. I do like this approach. Both the Dokkaebi and the Lion helps you control the roamers that, you know, DarkZero might be bringing. With the attacker repick, I will say that they're not great operators for this bomb site because this is not as heavy of a roaming presence bomb site as, for example, Lap or Throne. We do see an attacker repick from Slash right now, going from Dokkaebi to the Montan. The only thing I don't like about this is that, if possible, you'd probably want to put Anthony on that Monty instead. It's not a kill roll. You're just walking on in, making callouts and giving directions. Slashhawk is the IGL, the in-game leader, aka captain for his team. It makes sense for him to be in the front with the Monty, but when you have someone like Anthony just not finding a single kill, you could definitely make the argument that he should be the one playing Monty instead.
And we saw teams do that in Charlotte. We've seen teams do that before regionally. This is not a new concept. I don't know what just happened to Drip there, but he just short-circuited. You will see that when a star player, a star fragger is not going well. Iconic happened. This happened Iconic on Astralis back at the Charlotte Major. You put them on hard breach. You put them on a shield operator because there are some days where you just don't have that confidence in yourself. And it is actually quite detrimental mentally to leave a fragger on a fragging role when you know that they can't win their duels. That is a big problem, and it will continue to hurt their pride and hurt their confidence. All this said, 1 minute off of the clock, still match point for DarkZero, and a long hallway separates that Monty of Beast Coast from the hallowed ground. Sweater breaking in and with a nice inventive angle on this desk in cache, can see all the way down. Panbazoo will be the one to duel against him. Sweater could capitalize quite well if we see the Asami peak, but no. DZ don't want to do that just yet. And the deployable shield about to go down, as the Gone 6 will find its mark, but still patience from Beast Coast. They are orchestrating all of this around the Lion charge, and there it goes. Or so we thought.
It's a very slow approach here, and mind you, the longer you wait, the more keeper barriers Asami will recharge, because as time goes on, the more she gets. 5 total, and she just got her final 5th, about 1 minute 30. So that means now that all barriers are in Panbazoo's pocket or have been used. It's a hard time to be Slashhawk right now.
And there goes that Kiba barrier. A little bit of damage maybe done to the Monty. That's a really well-tossed impact nade, doing a ton of damage to Slash. Half of his HP is gone. Panbazoo feeling one. 12 kills to his name. 3 times what he has, 4 deaths, but he can't net a single kill. A stalemate now developing in front of our eyes. 45 seconds on the clock for DarkZero to ward off this Beast Coast push. Ditto the other way around now. Can Beast Coast get in? A beautiful shot from Eclipse as down goes Sweater. Completely ineffective. Canadian being softened up. Now it's NJR to take some damage. Surf and drip drop. All of a sudden, it's Beast Coast with Slash in a 1v5. No flawless available because the pistol outduels Eclipse. But Slash knows what position he's in, and it's not a good one at all. How about just a bit of a warm-up for DarkZero? Their very first match here in Stage 2, hot off of their major win, is just as dominant as we came to expect. 7-2 the scoreline for DarkZero. This one was not